Hey everybody, welcome to episode 121 of Random Musings from the Clinical Trials Guru. It's Dan, Sfera, I got Chris Sauber. We've got G-Dub behind the camera. We're live streaming. So, episode 120 was our webinar, Overworked Staff in 2018.
Oh yeah.
What's episode 121 going to be about?
I have no idea. You're going to tell me, I guess.
We had a bunch of ideas yesterday. So, what about the... Wasn't there something we were going to talk about from the webinar
There was
yesterday?
like 6 things There was like 6 different times yesterday in which you said, let's do a podcast on that.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of them.
Do you remember any of them?
No.
At all?
Honestly, I don't.
How about... Let's see. So we talked about the site that we're about to audit.
We talked with the teleconference guy, Tim.
Oh, let's start with that one.
There was one there you had mentioned. I don't remember what it was. I just remember you mentioning let's do a podcast on that.
Yeah. Let's do that one.
I don't remember what it was.
No, let's do the one with the conference. So it's a good way to promote the conference too, the Guru Conference. So the problem with these conferences, okay, and you haven't gone to...
I haven't been to one.
You've been to investigator meetings.
Yeah, they're similar, I'm sure.
Yeah. The culture's similar.
The outcome isn't, they're different outcomes, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the product's probably pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm. What about, let's talk about conferences for a second, okay? We're starting a Guru Conference. We don't know when it's going to be. It's either going to be this year or like...
Well, you keep saying 15 months.
Yeah, but then he kept saying like 3 months. It depends on the size of the venue. Because Monica's friend has a venue we can use.
3 months seems pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah, I don't think the first conversation we had, he said 3 months. I
guess,
never believed that.
Sure, I would guess at the earliest 6 months.
I always assumed it was going to be 2019, not 2018.
Right.
But who knows? But the Guru Conference is coming out. We want to know what Guru Nation wants to get out of a conference. And this is going to be for research sites. This is going to be for CRAs. This is going to be for people that want to be CRAs. This is for people that want to be researchers. Pharma and CROs are going to come too. We're going to have information for them and their staff as well. We're debating getting CME credits, offering CME credits there. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that first while I remember what the hell we were going to talk about today.
And I think there was something mentioned earlier today at our lunch meeting about having ACRP there.
Yeah, so ACRP, I'm actually interviewing Elizabeth Weeks Rowe from, she's either from ACRP, SOCRA, or both. I don't know.
Well, I highly doubt she's from both.
No, you could be from both.
Well, you could be from one and now at the other, right? Could you be at both at the same time?
Yeah.
They're competitors.
It's not like it's Bloods and the Crips.
Yeah, it's kind of, but you're competitors.
I actually will ask her.
All right.
I'll say, I mean, no offense by this. I'm not trying to get shot.
Right.
Who are you with?
You wear blue or red?
Where are you from?
Blue and red, right?
Yeah.
Bloods and Crips.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, conference, are you excited about that? I have been to conferences. I tell you, they're like, for the most part, they're like bullshit. Mm-hmm. They're overpriced. The only good aspects of conferences are networking with
business development, basically.
BizDev, right? Or even networking with other sites, like sharing what works for them.
Sure.
You know, like we're in California. There could be a site in Miami, and what works for them is they have an inside sales agent, right? That helps with their BizDev. So they get the person doing the BizDev, right? And then whoever replies to that person, now this person, the inside sales agent, takes over. Because you don't want the BizDev person to stop what they're doing.
Sure.
They're good at that, right? So if that works for a site in Miami, it could work for a site in California. And they don't mind sharing because you're not really competitors. And people like to brag when things are going well for them.
Sure.
Have you noticed that?
It could even be something as simple as sharing study leads.
Yeah.
I mean, we do that for people, but hey,
We do share study leads with people. How do you feel about sharing study leads with sites, Chris?
I think it's beneficial. I mean, if you can, like you said, if you have a site in California, a site in Florida, you're not competing whatsoever, right? And if the sponsor's going to, or CRO is going to appoint 50 sites, it's going to be 50 sites, right? So it doesn't matter if your competitor gets the study. Matter of fact, you probably prefer it. It's like California gets it opposed to more sites in your immediate area.
Yeah.
So it's beneficial, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, a site in Miami says to a site in Orange County, there's a study right now with this sponsor. Here's the contact. Why don't you reach out to them? They're still looking for some more sites, so it's definitely beneficial.
It was surprising to me how yesterday's webinar, episode 120, for anyone listening, just go back one episode for that one, how many people emailed me afterwards that said they resonate with this person who we were talking about in her situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like a dozen or so, right?
Really?
Yeah. So I got actually, you know what? Here's one of the emails. I'm pulling up one. Oh no, this is for a person looking for a doctor.
You forwarded me one of the emails.
Yeah. This one's from a person looking for a doctor, which we can talk about as well. You know who this is.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Maybe.
You know.
Okay.
You've spent a lot of time with this person.
Oh, yes. Yes, one more yes.
That was 2 yeses. 3?
Yeah, gotta have 3.
That's Amir Bashir, yes?
Yes.
Yes. So they don't have an oncologist, is what they're replying back to me. Remember I asked them something?
Mm-hmm.
So...
Oh, she responded? She
yeah,
emailed you back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you all experienced issues with PI sub-Is that you have worked with in the past not having medical malpractice insurance and only being covered by a hospital?
Yeah, we have experienced this.
That's the norm, right?
Well, if they work for a hospital, the hospital provides medical malpractice insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, so how you want to do this is you want to contact their provider, right? Whoever's providing them the insurance.
Mm-hmm.
What's the name of CAP, right? Let's say it's through CAP. You'd want to call CAP and see if they would be covered off-site. The problem is I don't think you're going to be able to do that because the hospital's not going to provide you with any information able to do that. So typically when a doctor has medical malpractice insurance, it already covers research, right?
Mm-hmm.
It covers anything they do in the state, typically.
Okay.
But the problem is you can't confirm that, right? And you can't get a copy of it should a sponsor or a CRO want to see it, right? Because sometimes they want to see your insurance,
Mm-hmm.
Your limits. So the problem is you're almost forced into having to purchase it, even though they probably are already covered.
Okay. I got another question from someone from the webinar yesterday. They want to know, they want to do consulting, kind of like we do, I guess, but just local in their area. Because they don't have, they don't want to do all this podcast and all that.
I think you forwarded me that email too.
Yeah. And so this person has a lot of experience working at a site, but they want to have a side income.
Right.
And I told this person the biggest thing you need is to get the clients. So you better start door knocking. Because if you're not going to get inbound leads somehow, you're not going to have business. You can have all the knowledge in the world.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't have people coming to you or you going out to them, you don't. It's really good for nothing. I mean, you can say you're a consultant, but what good is that going to do?
Until you get paid.
Yeah. Now, about this, I got another question, actually. Thank you for your webinar. Reinforce some items for me. Oh, yeah, this is that one. I've been considering consulting for some time and was wondering how long it took you to build up your business. So, and if you'd be willing to share any tips.
Well, I can answer that question.
Yeah, so how long has it taken?
So, you started doing the Clinical Trials Guru, if I remember correctly, around 2008, 2009?
2010. February 2010.
Was it that late?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know the exact month.
And you and I got together and started talking about how to monetize it.
2014.
No, 13, I think.
13, okay.
Yeah. So,
3 years.
3 years of nothing.
I was trying to monetize within those 3 years,
Just-
not successfully.
Right. And then it came
Here and there.
a little bit, right?
Yeah, there was this service called Post Joint that went out of business, but they would basically find niche blogs, and then they would pay you a fee. Usually it was like $30 for someone to post something relevant to your audience on your page. It was like an ad. It was like having sponsored posts. So actually, at one point, I was getting like 5 of those a month, or no, 10 a month. So I was making like $300 a month doing that. But that's never how I wanted to monetize.
Sure.
And the money was just, whatever.
Slowly scaling.
Yeah. And Google actually, when the algorithm changed, they stopped really allowing that kind of stuff. And so that company went out of business.
And then once we started monetizing it,
2013,
something like that, it's slowly built, right?
Yeah, it doesn't happen quick.
No, like the first year we had maybe 4 clients.
Really? That's it?
Like 4 or 5 clients.
Oh yeah, and like
we
2
were
of them didn't pay.
Right, we were like rooting for 1 a month. Can we get 1 a month?
Now we get like what, 1 a week?
2, 3 a week.
Wow.
I mean, it averages out probably to 3 a month, I would guess at this point.
Okay.
But we've had weeks where we get 3 or 4.
And now we got that was before the CRA Academy.
Yeah, and there's that.
I remember how the CRA Academy, we never wanted to do that. I actually am not a good teacher. I hate teaching. You are actually a pretty good teacher, I think. You at least enjoy it.
For the most part.
I enjoy teaching the interns.
Sure.
But I enjoy teaching people when they already know something. I don't like starting from zero.
I actually prefer the other way.
Yeah, that's why we make a good team, because I
Sure.
prefer teaching them the details and the hacks. I think I'm good at finding hacks, like how to do your job with less effort,
Right.
which is what I teach the students, and they like that. Or how to ace an interview while only knowing half of what you should know.
Right.
I like that stuff. But we didn't start the CRA Academy. It's not like we started the blog and said, hey, we're going to start a CRA Academy because that's what we want to do. No, we kept getting hundreds of emails from people saying, hey, teach me how to be a CRA, teach me how to be a CRA. Constant. And I kept saying, no, I don't do that. I don't
Right.
do that.
Right.
Watch this video instead. But people, despite all the videos we put out, people were still like, I will pay you to do a structured course. And we're like, if we can get a teacher in here, because I hate that.
Well, that's not even exactly how it started.
And then we got Shanae.
You and I were the teacher.
Oh,
Remember we took them on
yeah.
individually initially.
Yeah, but
We
that
didn't
was
even have slides.
But that was to build the material.
Yeah, but
Oh yeah, we hacked that.
yeah, there was no
hacked-
slides or anything.
There's a lesson here that's while you're learning how to build something, you can still get paid.
Yeah.
So we now charge $3,000 for a 3-month program. Back then, it was still a 3-month program, but we were building the material as we were teaching it. So those students got in for $300.
Yeah.
And they knew, we told them, hey, you're the
First,
beta
very
group.
First, yeah.
You're the beta group, so we're you're our guinea pig. This is your this is our clinical research study for you.
Wasn't it $300 a month, something like that, right? Or was it 300 total?
I don't know. I don't remember. It was way less than
I
what
don't
we're
remember.
charging
Yeah,
now.
I don't remember for sure what it was either, but it wasn't much.
Yeah, and you and I were literally alternating. You would do week 1, I would do week
Yep.
2, you would do week 3, and then we would build the material as we're teaching it. We would get feedback from them too. This is what I understand. This is what I didn't.
Right.
So then when we created the actual modules, we knew what we were gonna do. We at least had the structure.
Yep.
And then we had the first real class. They paid $500 a month for 3 months. The first real class was Shanae was teaching.
Right.
And then she helped with the mock protocol, with the scenarios, and now we charge $1,000 a month. So that's actually advice for this person. That's tips. You asked for tips. The tips starts way smaller than what you're gonna charge, and let them know that this is the first client, but you're gonna get a huge discount and all of our effort.
Yep.
Those first students, we don't teach our current students until they intern.
Right.
We sometimes don't even know who they
Well, we
are.
kind of do. I mean, it's our modules.
We teach them through the modules, but
Right,
you
it's
and I don't
recorded.
sit down with them for an
Yeah,
hour
it's
every
not
week.
live.
And we don't sit down with them for an hour every week, which, by the way, those hours turned into hour and a half really
Oh, yeah,
really quickly.
2 hours sometimes.
Yeah. So we actually got to know those people.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you get the better end of it by being on
Speaking of which-
that side. But I think the training's much better now with Shanae and Brenda.
What was the first student's name?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't
There was 3.
No, but the first one brought on the others.
Yeah.
I wonder how he's doing.
I remember who you're talking about, but I can't remember the name.
Nice guy.
Yeah, they're all nice.
Yeah.
For the most part, we've had only one weird student who dropped out like after week 2. One week he said he loved it, and the next week he said he hated it. Remember?
Yeah, bipolar.
Yeah, I think so. So that's not bad. Let's find more questions. So basically, when we did the... oh, here's a question for you.
Question for me. Okay.
Yeah, I got one for you. Well, this is an easy one. How can we get the relevant pharmaceutical company leads interested in clinical trials? This is a CRO. And actually, this is gonna... Basically, it's a CRO startup asking how they can get more studies. You want to take a stab at it?
Good luck.
Yep.
I mean, it's difficult, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you have to network, you have to make connections. I forget how you phrase it, but it's like it's kind of Big Brother-ish, right?
Yeah.
In which it's who you know.
It is a very much an old boy or a good old boy network.
Yeah, exactly.
That's probably
That's how
the
you
phrase.
phrase it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're only going to get small projects most likely.
Here's another question we got. A lot of questions from the webinar. The issue I have is we are a multi-specialty group. Is there a legal way to pay doctors for referrals within the group if they're referring patients?
Yeah. I mean, you put them on a 1572 sub-I.
That's exactly my answer to them.
That's the legal way.
You sure that's legal?
Yeah, I'm certain.
Who did you ask?
I didn't ask anybody. It's just common sense, right? Think about it, right?
Yeah. That's the same answer I gave him.
Right, but...
I said, I am no attorney, but if you make them sub-investigators, you can compensate.
So think about it, right? People don't work for free typically, right? If they're on the 1572, they're working for you, right? As PI.
Right.
Right? If they're in that box 6, they're working for you.
Mm-hmm.
It could be as a rater. You're paying them to do the rating scales. It could be for bringing their patients over to your clinic to participate in the study, which is direct referrals.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. If you're not on the 15, I think I've actually spoke to a couple different CRAs, but they're no experts either who have said put them on the 1572. But I mean, you can get around that too by not paying them a referral fee,
Yeah.
chart review or whatnot.
There's a lot of ways to go about it. Here's another one from the webinar. Hey Dan, your topic on the webinar yesterday really hit home for me. It sounded like you could have been talking about me. And I know there's many like this person.
Sure.
I'm sure there are others out there in the same boat. My only difference is I am the only one doing the work. As a CRC, I am an army of one.
Oh yeah, I remember the Army of One. That's the email you forwarded.
I was wondering if you can do a tip sheet for those of us who are buried beneath studies trying to do everything right and trying to dig out. Maybe a YouTube video. We could all use the tips you gave your client in some way or another. So she's referring to the pep talk I gave this person, who she said was helpful. Mm-hmm. And I've been calling every day to make sure that...
You talked to him today?
I talked to him.
I was here.
Oh, you saw. Yeah.
Well, I didn't see you,
You
but I was
heard.
here.
So, and there's a good, what did you say, apropos quote by John Wooden?
Apropos.
If you don't have the time to do it right, when will you have time to do it over?
Yeah, very apropos to the topic.
Yeah, I think the anonymous person who emailed me this, you should read your own email signature for your answer. Right?
Yeah.
You didn't even have to hit send. It's right there. But we will go dive deep because this is it's become a grab bag of question and answer podcast today.
Mm-hmm.
So, tip sheet for overwork coordinators, Army of One, and I got some motivation for them too. I don't know the infrastructure. I really doubt you truly are one. Is there a receptionist there? Right? Do they eat lunch and waste time?
Where's the owner?
Is there an owner? But like I doubt you're an Army of One. You're an Army of One if you're an owner. And even then you have like a PI. Right? So what's a tip sheet for coordinators buried in work?
I think what she's saying is there's probably half a dozen studies and she's the only coordinator. I think is what she means is Army of One.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So she's stuck doing all of the coordinating work for 6 studies, answering all the queries.
So do you have a tip sheet?
Tip sheet.
Find a new job?
Ask
What-
for a raise.
All of the above. Ask for ownership in the company.
Or,
Who owns it?
Or some sort of incentivization.
Yeah. Is it really an army of one? Because is there an owner? Or is there a missing owner?
Yeah, maybe they're just an owner and they're not there.
Right.
Maybe the PI is the owner.
So sounds like they're dependent on this person. So they want a tip sheet. Mine would be prioritize. And we talked about this yesterday too.
Mm-hmm.
But the quadrants like urgent, important, urgent, not important. And this is all from the perspective of you, the person, not from someone else's perspective. What's urgent and important for you? What's urgent and non-important for you? What's non-urgent and important
Yeah.
for you? And
Sure.
what's non-urgent and non-important for you?
Yeah, you have to be a good decision maker.
Well,
to do that,
if
right?
someone in an army of one ought to be.
Well, I'm just saying because you have to be able to decipher what really needs to get done now.
Yeah, what's
Right.
urgent and important? Because you can't say everything's urgent and important because then it does nothing,
Right.
right?
Yeah, except for you drown.
Yeah.
Right. So. I
Stop
think-
the bleeding.
Well, I think where I would start if I were this person that was truly just buried, I think I would have to have a line of communication with somebody to let them know this is not going to work. Otherwise, we're going to start losing studies, people on screening holds.
Mm-hmm.
Future business is going to be in jeopardy because the data is going to be so horrible,
And I-
atrocious, that they're not going to come back to us.
I got a tip for this person too. If you truly are an army of one and you're doing all this, you should ask for a raise
Yeah.
or a part ownership.
Yeah. Or something.
Part ownership and a raise.
Or at least, like we said yesterday, right? A bonus or something.
I'm seeing what organization this is and they wouldn't do that.
No, you know them?
I don't know them, but the way it sounds is it's a hospital.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't sound like anyone
You're not
actually
gonna
would
get
care.
ownership either.
You're not going to get ownership.
But you certainly can get a raise.
You can get a raise, and you've got the leverage, and you can also get another job. I mean,
But if you like it there, I would start with
it
developing
doesn't seem like this
I would
person
develop a
likes
line
it.
of communication. Maybe she likes the people she works with. Develop a line of
It's
communication.
an army of one. She likes herself.
De-
That's what she's saying.
develop a line of communication and let them know this does not work.
So any tip sheet for coordinators buried in studies?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different aspects of the job that have to be done, right?
Yeah.
I mean, basically, the material has to be clean by the time the monitor comes to review it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the contracts state that, like, for example, data has to be entered in EDC within 72 hours or 4 days, 5 days. They all say something different, but
Yeah.
they
And they'll hold those contracts over your head too.
sure. But you know what? It can't be avoided if you're being buried. You can point that out to your owner.
But the owner in this case is a hospital.
Sure. Well,
They
there's
probably
gotta
don't.
be somebody you can talk
They
to.
probably hope that the research fails.
Hmm.
It might be time to leave
Good point.
this person. Anonymous. Might be time to leave. Go to private. Join the private side. Private industry. It's funner. It's more profitable. It's less work.
Yes and no. I mean, I've heard of hospitals that some hospitals pay quite well.
Another question. My name, okay, not gonna say the name. I have a bachelor's in biology. I've worked in a medical lab for 10 years. But a friend of mine that works at a cancer research facility told me I'd be a great fit as a study coordinator. From watching your YouTube videos, you stated on numerous occasions the industry wants you to have at least 2 years of experience to be a CRA. My question is, should I intern somewhere else as a coordinator before considering taking a coordinator job at this cancer research facility?
But he's confusing two different positions there.
Yeah, why would you intern as a coordinator when you could take a coordinator job?
Right. He's confusing CRA with CRC.
No, then he goes on, or should I intern as a CRA elsewhere?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So he's confusing CRA with CRC.
Correct.
You should take the paid job Like, okay, so I don't know, actually. It depends on your situation. I don't know anything about you. Do you have a family? Do you have bills to pay? Do you...
No, you take the job as a CRC to gain experience if you want to be a CRA.
Yeah, but he can intern as a CRA.
How would you intern as a CRA?
He says, or should I intern as a CRA elsewhere?
So I think you mean CRC.
Probably. This question's like very confusing.
But obviously we offer an internship for CRAs, but that's a little different, right?
For the CRA Academy.
Correct.
But they're really like quality assurance specialists at a site level.
Exactly.
So my advice to him, and I already replied, but I'm going to tell Guru Nation now, take the coordinator job. You're going to get paid.
Yep.
What did we just talk about, the first topic? When you're learning something new, you can still get paid for it.
Yeah.
This is exactly what you're going to do. Even if you're going to take a pay cut from your current job, this industry is growing, and you want to be in this field, not in a lab where you could be replaced by a robot in 10 years. Lab workers. Quintiles and IQVIA merged, right? Or now it's called IQVIA. They merged with some lab. And all their lab workers, like half of them got let go because they merged with a lab.
Right.
One of our students actually was part of that. He worked.
Really?
Yeah, he worked, and guess what? He got a job.
Oh, good.
We got to call him. Congratulations to Dare Akinsola.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually supposed to call him back. We've been playing phone tag.
I thought that might be who you were speaking of. I kind of remember he worked at a lab.
He was on one of our first videos, but he got a job. And this was like 2 months ago.
Good.
So, definitely better to be in research than to be in a lab. I think it's harder to be replaced by technology.
That's coming too, but probably a little longer.
Later. Speaking of which, on the Clinical Scoop, they wrote an article about artificial intelligence. Maybe we can end with that?
Yeah, your favorite Jordan Peterson spoke about artificial intelligence.
What did he say?
He said it won't happen. He said because it requires a biological mechanism. Like I said the same thing. Biology is required in there somehow. Until they develop some sort of biological mechanism for it, it'll be very difficult.
To get true AI?
Yeah.
So maybe we don't need true AI yet.
Right.
Because
you won't. I mean,
you just need partial AI to replace a lot of jobs.
You don't need any AI. It just needs to be programmed.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, to move slides.
The self-driving trucks are going to replace truck drivers.
It's not AI. It's just proper programming.
So on the Clinical Scoop sneak peek, because you're listening on the podcast and on YouTube and on Instagram, this is going to go up tomorrow on the Clinical Scoop, but Sequoia, which is a Bay Area venture capital firm, Google, invest in a $15 million Chinese artificial intelligence startup called Xtal Pi. I don't know, it's Chinese. So, a chance to provide applications of artificial intelligence for drug research and development. So Google's getting into this space, basically, is what this article is all about. Xtalp was founded by a group of physicists at Massachusetts Institute of Technology and now has 60 employees working in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and Beijing, China. It has developed partnerships with several top pharma companies, and they are developing computational models built on big data generated from high-precision computing platform. Basically, according to Fierce Biotech, they're using AI to start designing studies now, which is not new. We interviewed those people from Trials.ai, right? Google will launch an AI lab in China to develop new computational models with big data generated from its computing platform and construct a prediction-driven research lab to enhance its capabilities for screening and design of solid drugs.
Yeah, they're moving towards, what it sounds like to me there, they're moving towards replacing sites.
Sites?
Yeah. I mean, you can provide all the materials almost to an individual to...
Oh, they're going to run simulations instead of actual trials?
Well, not simulations necessarily, but you can hand an individual a calibrated automated vital sign machine, right? and a number of other things that you could plug into a computer and immediately transmit the data.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of sounds like where that's heading.
What did we learn today from our meetings? We met with a recruiter, a job recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do a local Orange County meetup for researchers.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in Orange County or LA, hit me up. Dan at thecolangacharlesguru.com. We talked to a former inside sales agent for Zillow.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have her work with us.
Mm-hmm.
And do what?
A little bit of everything, it sounds like.
That's right. So good day, interesting day, yeah.
Yeah.
And tomorrow, what we got going on? We're starting the new.
More of the same.
Yeah, more questions, I'm sure. So, anything else? Closing remarks, comments?
You were gonna say, what are we starting tomorrow?
I think we have our webinar for the MTC,
No,
Maryland.
That's Friday.
Friday. Some candidates are asking if the webinar can be recorded for them to view at a later time. Yes, this can be done.
Tomorrow's the Site Owner Academy.
Ah, give them that plug.
So if you're interested,
We've had a bunch of students join recently.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in starting your own business in research, we have an academy to teach you hopefully most of what you need to know
That's right.
on how to develop and run your site. And that's
That is
for
right.
$3,000, and it's at your own pace. And we host a live webinar every Thursday, 12 Pacific, 3 Eastern.
And we're really giving people a good deal because they don't even have to. We sell a group package, but if you join the academy, you're going to learn all the stuff that we charge for anyways. Right? Like, you're going to learn how to do it on your own.
Yes, you can do it yourself.
But we have a bundle also.
Right, where we'll do these things for you, but it still doesn't hurt to take the Site Owner Academy just so you know how things work. Right?
Yep.
More people doing business development, the better.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening, watching on Instagram and on YouTube. Thanks to G-Dub for recording this, and we'll catch y'all later. Bye-bye.